This is an Unspoiled Network podcast.
This is Unspoiled, covering Harry Potter, the Rereading, Chamber of Secrets, chapters 17 and 18, The Heir of Slytherin, and Dobby's Reward. In these chapters, Harry fights a snake. Again. Not for the first time, not for the last time. Welcome to Unspoiled. All right, welcome to the show, everyone. I'm Natasha.
I'm RoShawn.
And we are, embarking on our first reward recording live with our $20 and up patrons. And it's going so well.
Oh my God, it's fantastic. It went without a hitch, right?
It's going really well. And
it was flawless.
I'm not at all frustrated in any way.
No, I couldn't have asked for it to go any easier.
Oh my God. Plus side, I have 2 new friends on Skype now, so what's up, guys? But yeah, so we're gonna, be working on this to improve it.
Yeah, shout out to Gabby and Ashley and Krista for hanging in.
Yeah, they all came through and are on Skype with us listening right now. But yeah, we were going to do this live on Crowdcast via Patreon, and that shit did not work out. So, which is frustrating since that's how we did our unboxing, and it went fine that time, except for my little hiccup, which was my end. But, well, it's always a work in progress every time. I just have to accept that things will never work, and just, kind of go through life that way, right? That's fine. So, RoShawn, how did you feel about going through these chapters again? Finishing up this one. Anything stand out?
It's funny because we, just watched the movies a couple of weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And there were a couple of things in the movie that I was like, is that how it was in the book?
Yeah.
And, but then when I was reading the chapters, for some reason, all of a sudden, it hit me. And this is so stupid and corny. But I was just like, Harry is so brave. I don't know. I can't explain why it happened. But it just did. Like, it just hit me. I was kind of emotional about it.
Aww.
And then immediately I was mad because he just started being Harry, throwing his wand down, some shit like that.
Yeah. Harry's gonna Harry.
Yeah, Harry's gonna Harry. All like expecting Tom Riddle to. It takes him a long time, in my opinion, to realize that Tom Riddle is not his friend.
Yeah. This is one of those things that, like, I agree with you on the outset, but I remember reading it for the first time, and it just didn't really. Like, I just couldn't wrap my brain around how Tom Riddle could possibly be a threat. Mm-hmm. So even though I was like, I don't think this is a good guy, I was also like, well, fuck him. He's just like a vapor. So who cares?
Yeah.
And then once he starts to sort of solidify, that's when I started to be like, hold on, wait, because he could be a threat. What does this mean? But yeah, it does go on a while when you reread it and know what's happening. Mm-hmm. You are just like, holy shit, Harry. Do you hear the tone that he's speaking in? Do you hear the words coming out of his mouth?
Like he's practically twirling his mustache the whole time.
Oh, God. So he was standing at the end of a very long, dimly lit chamber. Towering stone pillars entwined with more carved serpents rose to a ceiling lost in darkness. So this was something you had asked about when we watched the movie, the snakes that are in the movie aren't there, but I guess this is a version of them.
Yeah. I mean, it's. I think when I watched the movie, I was reacting like, oh, in my memory, it was just all a slimy, tunnel.
Right.
It wasn't ornate at all. But it turns out that they do say that there are these carvings.
Yeah, after he gets past the big door to get in.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, he's going in, and he sees the huge pillars. Harry had to crane his neck to look into the giant face above. It was ancient and monkey-like, with a long, thin beard that fell almost to the bottom of the wizard's sweeping stone robes, where two enormous gray feet stood on the smooth chamber floor. Which, like, in the movie, he doesn't have any feet. It's just his head. I think that's kind of more badass, personally. A little bit more high impact with just his face sticking out of the wall.
Yeah. Agreed.
And that's when he sees Ginny. And, I mean, yeah, I get, like, okay, so Harry's like, Ginny, wake up, and you hear, she won't wake. And right then, you should kind of be like, well, how do you know that?
Right? You should, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Yeah. But Harry's all like, but what do you mean?
Right.
which is also a fair response. It's
it is
reasonable.
She's still alive, but only just. Are you a ghost? A memory, said Riddle quietly, preserved in a diary for 50 years. You've got to help me. And then Harry is looking for his wand, and he can't find it. And then he looks up and Riddle has it. And
this is where we know now that we should stop asking Riddle for help with any fucking thing.
Harry holds his hand out and is like, oh, thanks for picking my wand up for me, Tom. Good God, Harry. Jesus Christ, buddy. Get it together. Oh, gee, you're such a helpful friend. I picture Bullwinkle all of a sudden.
Oh, my God. And Riddle's like, oh, you won't be needing it. And again, Harry's like, but what do you mean, though?
Right? We've got to go. If the basilisk comes, it won't come until it's called. What do you mean? Look, give me my wand. I might need it.
Oh, my God.
Bless his heart. But again, why would he think? Because, like, what can this guy do? Except now he can pick things up, which, like, there,
a minute ago he was all, like, misty and barely there, and now he has your wand in his fucking hand. Like, things are getting more dire by the second.
There was something very funny going on here. Yeah, you think? How did Ginny get like this? He asked slowly. Well, that's an interesting question, said Riddle pleasantly, and quite a long story. I suppose the real reason Ginny Weasley's like this is because she opened her heart and spilled all her secrets to an invisible stranger.
If that's not a life lesson.
Hey, they say talking to a stranger is supposed to give you the most objective advice.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, well. Telling me all her pitiful worries and woes, how her brothers would tease her, how she'd come to school with secondhand robes and books, how she didn't think famous, good, great Harry Potter would ever like her. Which, in particular, like, I know that we're dealing with Voldemort here, but that's just rude. To just be like, oh, Beachy Dub, she's got a total huge crush on you, and it's super lame.
And she doesn't think she's good enough for you.
All the time he spoke, Riddle's eyes never left Harry's face. There was an almost hungry look in them. It's very boring having to listen to the silly little troubles of an 11-year-old girl, he went on. But I was patient. I wrote back. I was sympathetic. I was kind. Ginny simply loved me. No one's ever understood me like you, Tom. I'm so glad I've got this diary to confide in. It's like having a friend I can carry around in my pocket. Riddle laughed in a high, cold laugh that didn't suit him. It made the hairs stand up on the back of Harry's neck.
I like the detail about how the laugh didn't suit him.
Mm-hmm.
Because, Harry doesn't know him. So it's obviously just based on his appearance and his age, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, he recognizes that the laugh doesn't belong to someone, to the thing that he's looking at.
Mm-hmm.
which makes you wonder, well, whose laugh was it?
This is something that in the movie doesn't quite come across because Voldemort's described as having a high voice also, and his laugh being high, and like, they just don't really do that because it just doesn't seem to suit our cinematic idea of what a villain's supposed to be like when he's like all powerful.
Right.
We've got Darth Vader on the brain.
It's not manly enough.
Exactly. But I kind of would like to see this version because it's almost like Joker-like. It's how I picture it.
That's so funny. That's the first thing I thought of too. Is the Joker.
The other one that I think of is Mozart in Amadeus.
Oh my God, that laugh in that movie. He batshit. It just like nails on a chalkboard.
Yep.
Oh, it was so awful.
That movie's so good.
It is. I need to watch that again. I haven't seen it in years.
I have like the director's cut that's like an extra 20 minutes long, and it makes so much more sense. The director's cut is so much better. Sometimes you don't need the director's cut, and you're like, yeah, I see why they cut this stuff. But I think there are things that don't really make sense. And once I saw the director's cut, I was kind of like, oh, okay, that's why.
Really?
Yeah. So if you get a chance to watch that version of it, do that one. But anyway, so her soul happened to be exactly what I wanted. I grew stronger and stronger on a diet of her deepest fears, her darkest secrets. I grew powerful, far more powerful than little Miss Weasley. Powerful enough to start feeding Miss Weasley a few of my secrets, to start pouring a little of my soul back into her.
Yeah, this is so terrifying.
Right? Haven't you guessed? Ginny Weasley opened the Chamber of Secrets. She strangled the school roosters and daubed threatening messages on the walls. She set the Serpent of Slytherin on 4 mudbloods and the Squib's cat. Yeah, so then her diary entries became far more interesting. Dear Tom, I think I'm losing my memory. There are rooster feathers all over my robes, and I don't know how they got there. Dear Tom, I can't remember what I did on the night of Halloween, but a cat was attacked, and I've got paint all down my front. Dear Tom, Percy keeps telling me I'm pale and I'm not myself. I think he suspects me. There was another attack today, and I don't know where I was. Tom, what am I going to do? I think I'm going mad. I think I'm the one attacking everyone, Tom.
This is really disturbing.
Right?
Because we have a very, very young girl here being manipulated by a significantly older entity, right? It's evil. I guess we'll just call him evil. And that it was going on for an extended period of time. I don't want to use too many loaded words, but it's just very upsetting. That he kind of groomed her and then, what's the word? Begin to manipulate her and then sort of take advantage of her. It's just really gross.
Yeah, it
and
sure
I know
is.
It's framed in kind of like a magical sense, and it takes the sting out of it a little bit. A little bit.
I mean, there is a sort of like drugged sort of parallel though that you could make, just the fact that she doesn't remember anything, and she's talking to him about the fact that she can't remember anything because she doesn't realize.
Right, but she's confiding in her abuser, which is just like, oh.
So then she finally starts to be like, okay, you know what, something's not right here, and tries to get rid of the diary, and that's when Harry finds it. And he says, it was you, the very person I was most anxious to meet. Why did you want to meet me? Said Harry. Well, you see, Ginny told me all about you, your whole fascinating history. I knew I must find out more about you, talk to you, meet you if I could, so I decided to show you my famous capture of that great oaf Hagrid to gain your trust. It was my word against Hagrid's. Well, you can imagine how it looked to old Armando Dippet. On the one hand, Tom Riddle, poor but brilliant, parentless but brave, school prefect, model student. On the other hand, big blundering Hagrid, in trouble every other week, trying to raise werewolf cubs under his bed, sneaking off to the Forbidden Forest to wrestle trolls. But I admit, even I was surprised how well the plan worked. I thought someone must realize that Hagrid couldn't possibly be the heir of Slytherin. It had taken me 5 whole years to find out everything I could about the Chamber of Secrets and discover the secret entrance, as though Hagrid had the brains or the power. Only the Transfiguration teacher, Dumbledore, seemed to think Hagrid was innocent. Yeah. How about that? And I mean, this is, there are so many parallels here that we could make that it's not even really worth making.
Yeah, really. Like, I love that this is framing Dumbledore as like, oh, our Dumbledore, he knows. Mm-hmm. Right? And that's like kind of at first glance what you think. But then you think about it a little bit more and you're just like, oh, Dumbledore.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he was the only one who figured it out, but he wasn't the headmaster at the time, so he couldn't really do much. He just managed to keep Hagrid as a gamekeeper. He never seemed to like me as much as the other teachers did. So I wasn't going to waste those long years I'd spent searching for it. I decided to leave behind a diary, preserving my 16-year-old self in its pages so that one day, with luck, I would be able to lead another in my footsteps and finish Salazar Slytherin's noble work. And this is the moment when Harry finally realizes, he's like, imagine how angry I was when the next time my diary was opened, it was Ginny again. She saw you with the diary and panicked. What if you found out how to work it and I repeated all her secrets back to you? So I made Ginny write her own farewell on the wall and come down here to wait. She struggled and cried and became very boring. But there isn't much life left in her. She put too much into the diary, into me. Enough to let me leave its pages at last. I've been waiting for you to appear since we arrived here. I knew you'd come. I have many questions for you, Harry Potter. Like what? Well, how is it that a baby with no extraordinary magical talent managed to defeat the greatest wizard of all time? How did you escape with nothing but a scar while Lord Voldemort's powers were destroyed? And Harry still, why do you care?
Yeah.
Oh my God, Harry, holy shit. Buddy.
But we finally get, like, sort of a big reveal.
Yes, he spells out Tom More Volo Riddle in shining red letters in the air, and then rearranges it, and it says, I am Lord Voldemort.
And he made that exact noise.
That's exactly what he did. Oh, God, that would be a very different take on Voldemort. And yeah, he says it was a name I was already using at Hogwarts to my most intimate friends only, of course. Yeah. So then Harry realizes, but it's like he can't quite, like, really?
Well, it's a really difficult thing to wrap his head around.
Mm-hmm.
Right? First, to be fair, this is a type of magic that I don't think Harry even believes or knows is possible.
Yeah.
This whole leaving a version of your 16-year-old self because there's no talk of Horcruxes yet this early in the books.
Yeah.
Right? So
we don't find anything out about Horcruxes until like book 6.
Yeah. And, which that's a whole other conversation. But yeah, they just sort of spring that shit on you. But so Harry is trying to reckon with a magic and a power that's so beyond his years, and his experience. And then getting the information that the remnant of the whatever memory that he is talking to is who becomes Voldemort. But because he's only 16-year-old Voldemort, he doesn't have any of the knowledge that Voldemort gained afterwards, right?
Yeah, isn't that weird?
It's super weird.
Because that was something that I don't think I quite realized, that he was so fixed in time. I thought that, like, you know, magically he would somehow absorb the memories of the person that he came from. Yeah. But that is not how that works. And finally, they're basically, because he's like, I'm the greatest wizard of all time. Harry's like, nah, you're not. And he says, Dumbledore's been driven out of this castle by the mere memory of me. And Harry says, he's not as gone as you might think. And I love that he's like realizing, like, I'm kind of talking nonsense here. That doesn't really mean anything. But then there was some beautiful music, eerie, spine-tingling, unearthly. It lifted the hair on Harry's scalp and made his heart feel as though it was swelling to twice its normal size. Then, as the music reached such a pitch that Harry felt it vibrating inside his own ribs, flames erupted at the top of the nearest pillar. It's Fawkes!
Yes, it is. Because he's never really gone as long as, what is it? Someone here needs me. Or someone in
Hogwarts remains loyal to me. So yeah, it's that's a phoenix, said Riddle, staring. Thank you very much, Riddle, for that assessment. You are so shrewd.
I like, oh, fuck, you beat me to it. I was just going to say, he says shrewdly.
Oh my god. So, Fawkes has brought with him the Sorting Hat, which really does feel like, why?
Yeah.
Why?
I would have laughed too. Like Riddle laughs, and he was right to laugh.
I mean, kinda, you know. And Harry jams the hat on his head, not really like knowing what else to do. And then he starts yelling at Tom about how, you know, my mother stopped you, my common muggle-born mother. You're barely alive. That's where all your power got you, which is pretty good. Mm-hmm. And finally, he he does his parcel tongue to try and bring the basilisk out. And Harry, at this point, is still, like, wearing the Sorting Hat, I think, but he hasn't, like, when does he actually get the sword? When does that happen?
I don't think it's till after the basilisk starts coming after him, and he kind of trips and falls.
Okay, yeah, because first the basilisk gets blinded by Fawkes, who's a badass. Gouges its eyes out with his beak. Yeah. And then, let's see. Harry dodged and hit the chamber wall, yada yada. He felt a searing pain. Oh yeah, he gets some basilisk venom in there. And, let's see. He can hear footsteps, and Fawkes is leaning on him, crying. And it turns out that Phoenix Tears, surprise, have restorative powers.
Right.
Good job that you were here, buddy.
Didn't Dumbledore tell us that? I feel like he told us that when Fawkes combusted.
Yeah, I think so.
Which is still one of my favorite things ever.
Fawkes combusted.
Harry is like, oh my god, no, I didn't do anything, I swear.
I love that. And then, if this is dying, thought Harry, it's not so bad. Even the pain was leaving him. But was this dying? Instead of going black, the chamber seemed to be coming back into focus. Harry gave his head a little shake, and there was Fawkes, still resting his head on Harry's arm. A pearly patch of tears was shining all around the wound, except that there was no wound. And this is when fucking Riddle finally realizes, oh shit, right. God damn it. Because he really thinks he has him here. And Harry is, like, this is, because I always picture it, Harry fights off the basilisk, and then he deals with Tom Riddle. But it seems like this is, like, because I'm trying to find the spot. Where is the friggin' sword? See, this
well,
ended.
There's a beautiful illustration of him with the sword.
Yeah,
before he
I feel like we
actually pulls
missed it.
out.
Where is it? Sorry, guys. I know that this is riveting audio.
Yeah, no, I don't see it. It says, oh, here it is. Here it is. Harry was on his feet, ready. The basilisk's head was falling. You could see the vast steady eye.
Okay, the sorting hat. Harry seized it. It was all he had left. He rammed it on his head. Help me, Harry thought. Please help. There was no answering voice. Instead, the hat contracted as though an invisible hand was squeezing it very tightly. Something very hard and heavy thudded into the top of Harry's head, almost knocking him out. Right, okay, so he does get it before Fawkes blinds the basilisk. Because I was like, I thought I remembered that in the right order. And then the basilisk lunges for him and he drives it into the roof of its mouth. So, but in driving it that way, that's how he gets bitten. Because he's like, basically shoved his arm in its mouth. So the basilisk is dead by now. And then once he gets healed by Fawkes, Fawkes goes and grabs the diary and drops it in Harry's lap. And that's when Harry grabs the basilisk fang and drives it into the diary.
Right. Which we still don't know how he knew to do that. Yeah,
he just says, for a split second, both Harry and Riddle, wands still raised, stared at it. Then, without thinking, without considering, as though he had meant to do it all along, Harry seized the basilisk fang on the floor next to him and plunged it straight into the heart of the book.
Mm.
So it's almost supposed to be meant like a magical instinct, I guess?
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
There was a long, dreadful, piercing scream. Ink spurted out of the diary in torrents, streaming over Harry's hands, flooding the floor. Riddle was writhing and twisting, screaming and flailing, and then he had gone. So, yeah, then this is when Ginny finally wakes up, because Riddle is not sapping her life force anymore, basically. And I just feel so bad for Ginny, man. Like, she doesn't remember anything. She wakes up in this fucking cavern. Harry's bloody, has a sword.
Yeah.
The friggin' dead basilisk is right there. Like, Can you imagine?
And she says, she had tried to tell him at breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
And the last thing she remembers is fucking Riddle, coming out of the diary, which,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Not scary at all, I'm sure.
And then she immediately goes to feeling really terrible about everything she's done, and she's going to get expelled. And
what'll Mom and Dad say?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to imagine if, like, my planner came alive.
Oh my God.
My planner would be insufferable.
It would just boss you around.
Oh my God. It would be like Hermione. It would be a living Hermione, but like really cutesy and just so annoying. Oh my God. Oh my God. You know who it would be? You know that movie Election? It would be, it would be Reese Witherspoon's character. Oh man. So finally, Harry manages to get back, and with Ginny to Ron. Ron is just like, how come you've got a sword? Harry's like, yeah, no big deal.
Ron asking the real questions. like, I was down there with you. You didn't have a fucking sword when I left you down.
Right? And they climb back over, and Gilderoy's there. Hello. Odd sort of place, this, isn't it? Do you live here? Oh, God.
I laughed so hard when I read this because I had totally forgotten about it. I had forgotten that he got knocked out and that he didn't know what the fuck was up anymore.
He is so not with it right now.
Oh, my God.
So they hold on to Fawkes' tail and get carried up. Harry could hear Lockhart dangling below him saying, "Amazing! Amazing! This is just like magic!" I love that he doesn't even remember that he's a wizard. Like, nothing.
God. It's so good. It's so good. And when he talked about using his memory, and I'm assuming his memory charm was especially powerful because when it backfired, it was with Ron's wand.
It probably,
right?
Yeah.
So whatever memory charms Gilderoy has been using on his people that he has been taking advantage of, were just like, you don't remember meeting me on this Tuesday and me taking your story.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like very like precise spells. But this spell he got from Ron's wand is just...
Well, and like the story he was planning on telling was you lost your minds at the sight of her mangled body. Mm-hmm. So it probably wasn't just a memory charm. It was going to be a brain-breaking charm, right?
Well, yeah, I guess so. If he says that he was going to intended on making them crazy.
Yeah.
But it didn't sound like that's what he used for all the people he stole stories.
No, not for everybody else. Yeah.
Right. And so whatever spell he had planned for Ron and Harry, I don't know if this Gilderoy is he mad? He just doesn't seem to know who he is, which is different from like being a stark raving lunatic.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like he seems very pleasant. This Gilderoy seems all right.
So maybe that's all he meant to do was just like, oh, by the way, I'm going to have you just totally not remember who you are, and that's going to be the product of this, like...
Just shock.
Yeah, exactly. Which, that works. I mean, yeah. So finally, they find themselves outside Professor McGonagall's office, and when they open the door, Mrs. Weasley is there with Mr. Weasley, because obviously it's their daughter that was taken, so they got summoned there. I really don't have a good concept of how much time has passed, but I guess that they can, like, apparate to Hogsmeade and then get inside and stuff.
Yeah. It doesn't feel like it's been more than a couple hours to me, anyway.
That's fair. Yeah, this gorgeous 2-page illustration of Fawkes, which I feel like I used this for one of the posts already for the show a couple weeks ago, but yeah, this is just so beautiful. It's done as if it's like a textbook sort of thing.
Yeah.
Male and female type of plumage, a picture of the eggs, Phoenix Flint, which I guess is their droppings that looks like diamonds and rubies and whatnot. All right, not bad. And there's even, if I read music, it'd be so interesting. There's even a little, like, a bar here of music written, which I don't know how to interpret that. My bad.
It's pretty amazing.
I really can't wait to see the next book, what it's like. So McGonagall's is just like, so how did you do this? And he tells them everything. And finally, Dumbledore, who is also here, what interests me most is how Lord Voldemort managed to enchant Ginny when my sources tell me he's currently hiding in the forests of Albania, which takes a load off Harry's mind, because he's tried to phrase this whole thing as if, it all just happened without actually, like, implicating Ginny, because he's really worried if they're going to understand that. But of course, Dumbledore knows exactly what the fuck is going on.
Yeah. And that's the thing about Dumbledore, isn't it?
Always.
Like, sometimes you get so frustrated with him, and then sometimes he comes through in the clutch, and you're just like, God damn right.
Mm-hmm. That's about it.
It really is, isn't it? I guess it's too true. Too much like life.
So, what's that? Said Mr. Weasley in a stunned voice. You know who enchant Ginny? But Ginny hasn't been, has she? And Dumbledore takes the diary and says, brilliant. Of course, he was probably the most brilliant student Hogwarts has ever seen. Which I'm like, wondering if mentally he's going, except for me. I kind of want to think that that's what he's thinking, but I'm just, I'm going to keep that to myself. Haven't I ever told you never trust anything that can think for itself if you can't see where it keeps its brain?
That outlook. I remember when we read this the first time, I was so fucking impressed with that little bit of advice. I mean, it's like the realest thing in all of these books.
That's true. But I mean, in a computer, you can see where it keeps its brain. It's just that it might not make any actual sense to you. It doesn't to me. That's not helpful. Oh, good. That's a chip of metal. That's very helpful. So finally, Ginny says, I found it inside one of the books Mum got me. I thought someone had just left it in there and forgot about it. Yeah.
And Mr. Weasley is being a little, I mean, obviously he's overcome with emotion and, fear and relief and all that. But he's being really kind of like, why wouldn't you tell us this thing? You found this thing. You should know better. But she's a little fucking kid. And it was a diary. It was a fucking diary.
I mean, it's brilliant by Dumbledore's standards. So I think it's safe to say that most people would not have, taken this thing to be a dark object. So, Professor McGonagall, I'll leave you to deal with Potter and Weasley, shall I? And, of course, for a second, they're just like, we're not going to be punished for being completely badass and saving someone, plus, defeating, who, are we?
Because that would be crazy talk.
Yes. You will both receive special awards for services to the school, and let me see, yes, I think 200 points apiece for Gryffindor. And then, one of us seems to be keeping mightily quiet about his part in the dangerous adventure. Why so modest, Gilderoy? Oh, bless him.
I love that Harry had forgotten about him, too.
Lockhart looked over his shoulder to see who he was talking to. Professor Lockhart, am I a professor? Said Lockhart in mild surprise. Goodness, I expect I was hopeless, was I?
Oh my God, it's so good.
Oh, he's so great. Impaled upon your own sword.
Yeah, exactly. Same.
Sword. Haven't got a sword. That boy has, though. He'll lend you one. Oh, it tickles me so much. I love it so much. I just want to know, because, we don't ever really find out in the end what really happens to Gilderoy. I guess he just lives out his days in...
Well, they take him to the hospital ward, so I'm wondering if maybe he's not completely made whole, but partially.
I mean, we see him in the hospital in the 5th book, I think. And he still doesn't remember anything except that he keeps trying to sign things. Remember?
Oh my God, that's right. That's fucking right. Oh, that's sad, though.
I know, right?
Why do I feel bad for him? I hate him so much.
I know.
This compassion is going to be the end of me.
And so you met Tom Riddle, said Dumbledore. I imagine he was most interested in you. Professor Dumbledore, Riddle said I'm like him. Strange likenesses, he said. Did he now? And what did you think? I don't think I'm like him. I mean, I'm in Gryffindor. And then he starts to be like, well, you know what? I can speak Parseltongue, and
the hat said that I would do fine in Slytherin if that's what I wanted.
So Voldemort put a bit of himself in me, so I should be in Slytherin. The Sorting Hat could see Slytherin's powers in me, and it put you in Gryffindor, said Dumbledore. Listen to me, Harry. You happen to have many qualities Salazar Slytherin prized in his hand-picked students. His own very rare gift, Parseltongue, resourcefulness, determination, a certain disregard for the rules. Yet the Sorting Hat placed you in Gryffindor. You know why that was. Think. It only put me there because I asked not to go into Slytherin. Exactly, said Dumbledore, which makes you very different from Tom Riddle. It's our choices, Harry, that show what we truly are, far more than our abilities.
I love that.
Right? I love it too. There goes a quote that I don't feel gets quoted enough. Just like...
Yeah.
Lockhart apparently wrote his final book, Who Am I?, following his hospitalization. Oh, Gabrielle. That is the best thing. I didn't know that, but that friggin' title, he's in a straitjacket. Oh, bless his heart. Oh, I'm seeing there was all this chatting, and I didn't even see any of this. I'm sorry, guys. I wasn't ignoring you. I just didn't even see this. So sad that Ginny had nobody else to confide in about her fears besides this diary. That's true. Because she doesn't... Yeah. It doesn't seem like she really made friends with... Like, later on in the books, she's friends with them, and she has, like, a boyfriend. Yeah, but we don't see a lot of...
later on.
Yeah.
But, you know, it fits, though, because this is her first year. You know, she's young, and it's overwhelming of being at the school and intimidating. So it fits that she would latch on to something like this, I think.
Gabrielle just wrote earlier, not sure if you guys ever talked about this. Do you know his middle name is Elvis in the French version?
Shut the fucking front door.
No, I did not. Tom Elvis Jedusor to make Je suis Voldemort. Oh my God. That is hysterical.
I remember we had a thread in the group one time of like different versions of Voldemort in different languages. But this Elvis business is the best thing I've ever heard.
Oh my God. Spanish is Tom Orvoloson Riddle. Soy Lord Voldemort. Let's see. Wait, Spanish is Tom Sorvolo Ridley. Wow. Italian is Tom Orvolo Son Riddle. Sonlo Voldemort. Icelandic is Trevor Del Gome. Egg Air Voldemort. Trevor. Oh, it's like Neville's toad.
Like
oh, man.
Yes, that's the best.
That is so funny. All right. So... it's our choices that show what we truly are far more than our abilities. So yeah, this is something that would make a good tattoo, right? Because
yeah, I think so.
I feel like so many people have that quote, and not just for like tattoos and stuff, but for decor and things like that. The quote, happiness can be found even in the darkest of times if only one remembers to turn on the light, which is not even from the books. It's only from the movie. And that quote has always struck me as like kind of meaningless, because it's basically like, you know, when things are really dark, just find light. Whatever. Okay, that's nothing, guys. That doesn't...
That had already occurred to someone.
Right. Oh, you're super depressed? Just be happy then. Like that just, it always really irked me because it felt like fundamentally, like you're not saying anything. Krista's writing yes in all caps over here. Because I just, you know, it's just one of those things that I feel like there are so many quotes out there that circulate that are just like, really, when you really get down to what they're saying, it basically is just get over it, which is profoundly unhelpful, you know? And I understand why people like the quote in a like general way, but I just feel like if we...
It's succinct and it's easy and it, you know, it feels like it's saying so much more than it actually is.
Yeah.
And we love that type of shit.
And Gabrielle says, well, that's why JK didn't write it. Yeah, exactly. Like you can tell that it's not one of her quotes because it doesn't really mean anything. But for some reason it caught on because, you know, things do. So then finally, if you want proof, Harry, that you belong in Gryffindor, I suggest you look more closely at this. And then he shows Harry the sword and that it's Godric Gryffindor's sword. And the next illustration is this gorgeous 2-page sword illustration.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It really is. Only a true Gryffindor could have pulled that out of the hat, Harry, Dumbledore said simply. And I feel like there was some point when JK said that, like, I don't remember where I read this, but that the Sorting Hat is some of the most intricate magic ever wrought.
Oh, I read that in the Pottermore, I think.
Okay, that must have been it. It's like one of the most powerful magical objects. So it being able to summon the Sword of Gryffindor makes more sense when you think of it like that. Because at first I was really like, what? How did it do that? But, yeah. So Harry got up and crossed to the door, and there's Lucius Malfoy.
This motherfucker.
Yeah. And cowering under his arm, heavily wrapped in bandages, was Dobby. And Lucius is like, oh, so you're suspended, but here you are.
So he's here on this gotcha mission. This Dumbledore, how dare you be here? And I've got you this time.
Well, you see, Lucius, the other 11 governors contacted me today. It was something like being caught in a hailstorm of owls, to tell the truth. They'd heard that Arthur Weasley's daughter had been killed and wanted me back here at once. They seemed to think I was the best man for the job after all. Very strange tales they told me, too. Several of them seemed to think you'd had threatened to curse their families if they didn't agree to suspend me in the first place. Mr. Malfoy went even paler than usual, but his eyes were slits of fury. So, have you stopped the attacks yet? He sneered. Have you caught the culprit? We have, said Dumbledore with a smile. Well, said Mr. Malfoy sharply, who is it? The same person as last time, Lucius, said Dumbledore, but this time Lord Voldemort was acting through somebody else by means of this diary. And this is one of those things that, like, would never even have occurred to me. And it feels a little bit amazing to me that Harry put it together, but that's fine. Yeah, he realizes that Ginny got the diary when Lucius was fighting with with Mr. Weasley in the bookshop.
In the bookstore.
Yeah, so
which they we won't talk about that again.
Oh, the movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know. I guess he just drops it in there. And there's no fight to cover it up. Prove it, he hissed. Oh, no one will be able to do that, said Dumbledore. Not now. Riddle has vanished from the book. On the other hand, I would advise you not to go giving out any more of Lord Voldemort's old school things. If any more of them find their way into innocent hands, I think Arthur Weasley, for one, will make sure they're traced back to you. Ooh, shit!
Right?
So he turns to leave, and Harry's like, can I give the diary back to Lucius? Which is sort of a weird, like, I kind of want Dumbledore to be like, hey, maybe we could hold on to that and, inspect it for clues or something.
Right.
But no, he's like, yeah, sure. So Harry peels off his disgusting sock, shoves the book into it, gives it to Lucius, who rips the sock off and tosses it to the side, and Dobby catches it, and that counts as Dobby receiving clothes and being able to go free, which, let's be honest, is utter nonsense.
It's nonsense, but I love it.
Like, he lives in a house with people who get undressed and dressed all the time. Yeah. You can't tell me that this couldn't have happened. This is not how this goes.
He could have just grabbed anybody's laundry at any point.
Mm-hmm.
But, or maybe they're just more careful at home than we give them credit for.
Maybe
they're very careful to put all their clothes in a hamper. Never just letting them lie around.
Maybe it's just like we don't undress in the presence of house elves.
I could see that.
I mean, it's weird getting naked in front of a dog.
Well. But because clearly it's not an intention. He doesn't give this sock to Dobby.
No.
But the magic that is involved with house elves is, not, as far as I remember, ever really clearly pinned down.
No.
So, okay. This illustration is so adorable that, okay.
Yeah, he's hugging Harry's sock. It really is really cute.
It is, even though he's grotesque.
He's horrifying. Oh, my God. So then, "You've lost me, my servant, boy!" But Dobby shouted, "You shall not harm Harry Potter!" There was a loud bang, and Mr. Malfoy was thrown backwards. He crashed down the stairs 3 at a time, landing in a crumpled heap on the landing below. He got up, his face livid, and pulled out his wand, but Dobby raised a long, threatening finger. "You shall go now," he said fiercely, pointing down at Mr. Malfoy. "You shall not touch Harry Potter. You shall go now." Which is pretty badass.
I love it so much. It's so great. It's like the end of The Color Purple when Celia puts her hands out in Mister's face. It's like everything you ever touch until you do right by me.
Oh, God, I forgot about that.
I love it so much.
So then, Dobby, you told me all this had nothing to do with He Who Must Not Be Named. It was a clue. The Dark Lord, before he changed his name, could be freely named, you see? Right, said Harry weakly. Well, I better go. Oh, God. Oh, Dobby. Oh, Dobby. You tried so hard.
Right.
He did his best, Harry.
And we ended up loving him so much.
I know.
Talk about something that sneaks up on you.
It really does.
Because I remember I was so over Dobby at the beginning. I was not here for his nonsense. I really wasn't.
So then everybody at the feast is in their pajamas, which I forgot. The celebrations lasted all night. Harry didn't know whether the best bit was Hermione running towards him screaming, "You solved it! You solved it!" or Justin hurrying over from the Hufflepuff table to wring his hand and apologize endlessly for suspecting him, or Hagrid turning up at 3:30, cuffing Harry and Ron so hard on the shoulders they were knocked into their plates of trifle, or his and Ron's 400 points securing Gryffindor the House Cup for the second year running, or Professor McGonagall standing up to tell them all that the exams had been cancelled as a school treat. "Oh no," said Hermione. Or Dumbledore announcing that unfortunately Professor Lockhart would be unable to return next year owing to the fact that he needed to go away and get his memory back. Quite a few of the teachers joined in the cheering, and that greeted this news. "Shame," said Ron, helping himself to a jam donut. He was starting to grow on me. I forgot about all that good stuff. So they finish the rest of term, and then it's time to go home. And this is when we get that big red herring that she threw out there about Percy Weasley finally solved.
Yeah. Turns out
Percy's got a girlfriend.
Which is like a lot of, what is it? How does that saying go? Much ado about nothing.
Oh, right.
That was that whole Percy subplot thing was just.
Gabrielle says RoShawn was so upset the first time around about that Percy thing. Because the way it was written, I was really starting to think, like, what does he have something to do with it? What is Percy up to? What's he sneaking off about? And it was nothing but he had a fucking girlfriend. I love that, like, you get this red herring about him, and then later on, he is part of all the garbage, but it's just in such a different, like, context
right.
and intent and everything.
Sure.
But I do really like that. The Ravenclaw prefect, Penelope Clearwater. I walked in on them kissing in an empty classroom one day. He was so upset when she was, attacked. You won't tease him, will you?
Why did it have to be such a big secret?
Because he's got brothers and sisters who will endlessly tease him.
Because
when she says you won't tease him, wouldn't dream of it, said Fred, who was looking as if his birthday had come early.
I hate him so much. I really do. It's terrible.
So Harry gives Ron his telephone number. I told your dad how to use a telephone last summer. He'll know. Call me at the Dursleys. I can't stand another 2 months with only Dudley to talk to. Your aunt and uncle will be proud, though, won't they? Said Hermione. When they hear what you did this year? Proud, said Harry. Are you mad? All those times I could have died and I didn't manage it? They'll be furious. Oh, bless.
Yeah, I love that little turn of phrase. Don't be furious.
And then the end pages are all covered in spiders. Sorry, Priscilla.
More spiders.
Oh, man. So we're done with that one. So
Yeah.
did you want to take a week off before we start the next Azkaban book, or do you want to just launch into it? Do you have the Azkaban book? Not the illustrated version, of course, because that's not out yet. But
I should have it, but I have to double check. One of these books, I only had an electronic copy.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. I wasn't sure if you actually had that one or not.
Yes, I have to double check. I'll let you know.
Okay.
We should take a week off and try to get our live thing together.
Oh my God.
Like
at least
runs or something.
Krista assures me that the 3 people who are here with us in Skype are the same 3 people who are trying to get in on the live show on Patreon. So hopefully that's true and everybody doesn't hate us. So. But I feel bad because like the whole point is to be able to have the video for people to go check also afterwards on Patreon, and that's not going to be possible this first time around. Yeah. So, you know, but maybe we can do a test run next week and just like try and see if we can get it to work. So we'll keep you guys posted. And I do want to let everybody know I'm pretty excited because on GoFundMe, we have reached $2,740, which is bananas. Wow. So thank you all so much. The newest donors are Adam Ashraf, Michael Bootsma, Kai T, Marcasian Jackson, Vanessa Gross, Danielle Casey, Anonymous, Brittany Blockton, and Daisy Dunlap, all donated within the past week.
Thank you guys so
welcome
much.
To all of you. Thank you so much. I sent you all the links to the Dropbox folder, so make sure that you check your emails for that. I used whatever email you use for GoFundMe. And I'm just really excited to be so close to goal, and just seriously thank you guys so much. And I don't know, I think I've mentioned this, but that we had to cancel the live podcast that we were going to do because the fee for the conference room was going to be $1,000. Right.
Plus you have to lug all that equipment.
Yeah. Yeah, because people were like, well, you could do it somewhere else. And I was like, I can, but the logistics would be just such a nightmare. And I don't think that most like restaurants or things like that would have the kind of equipment that I need. So we just decided it'd be easier to cancel it and try doing something another time. And because we canceled it, it does take a load off because now all of this money can go straight to our trip and not have to go to paying for the space, which is great. So thank you all so much. And I know that there was somebody who had donated on PayPal too. Oh my God. I think, Tessa French donated. And there was another. Hold on. See, I'm in the wrong email now. I think it was Catherine, but I'm going to check now. But they donated on PayPal because they knew that we get a portion of the money taken away by GoFundMe when they donate. So they were like, I want to donate in a way that you will get all of it.
That was really nice.
Yeah. So, okay. Yeah, it was Catherine Horn Gianaloni. So thank you so much, Catherine, for that. She donated and she said, that should be enough to get you a couple of interactive wands and a couple of donuts from Lard Lad. So thank you, Catherine, because she knows exactly the things to say to get to my heart.
I know, right? I love that she put a little Simpsons in there too.
I was like, yep, that's exactly it. I want those donuts, man. I'm going to put that donut on that wand and eat it off. That sounds really sexual. I'm sorry, everybody, that you had to hear that.
Yeah,
I take it all back. I'm so sorry. Oh, God. And new patrons also. I want to say hi to you guys. So this week we have Jack Landis, Nicole Jones, Sarah Wieland, Kristen Collins, Kimberly Slack, Slow 1990, Nick Leo, Jolie Sturm, Siri Leaf's daughter, what a great name, and Tierney Nicholson. All became patrons over this past week. So welcome to all you guys. A few of you are $5 and up, which means that you are going to be getting access to the what do you call it? Oh my God, Twin Peaks coverage that I'm doing with Maggie. We started season 3. I just watched episodes 3 and 4 of season 3, which I thought the first 2 were weird. I was wrong. Holy shit, this show is so strange. I really like it. This season 3 is getting me, but it's really, really weird. So yeah, if you want to listen to Twin Peaks, $5 and up are getting immediate access, and then $4 and below will be getting access after that series is completed. And $10 and up are getting the postcards, which I already ordered, and those are the bookmark postcards this time, one of which says "Stop fucking reading," modeled after RoShawn's famous bookmark.
Yeah, the struggle was real at the beginning, guys.
And the other one says "Don't mention quarrel," modeled after I'm not sure what. I don't remember an incident.
It's all a mystery.
Nothing to come into mind on that one. Pretty sure that somebody just made something up. So, if you find that one funny, I guess. I don't get it personally, but so yeah, that's going to be the patrons only postcard for September. And then the October book club coming up will be covering Bag of Bones by Stephen King. And I'm going to be covering that with the two gentlemen from Overdue, which I'm so excited about because they're great, and I'm really, really looking forward to recording with them. Hopefully, it won't be. I hate getting excited about something because then I start to get worried that I'm so excited I'm just going to ruin it. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, be quiet.
But you know what I mean? Like I'm getting my hopes up, or I think it's going to be great. But I'm really excited about it, and I'm also. Bag of Bones I finished a couple days ago, and that is a book that's going to be very interesting to talk about. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, so it's the gentleman from Overdue coming up for October, and that's also going to be like the week after my birthday, so it's a birthday present for me. Woo-hoo. And I think that's everything I wanted to mention. Oh, and guys, don't forget to check out AkioBox. They sold out of their Halloween boxes, unfortunately, so if you haven't gotten one already, then you're not going to get one. But I think they still have October boxes left, and then you can also sign up for the November box. Krista says I got both bitches. Nice. So yeah, check out akiobox.com. Use code unspoiled and get 10% off your first 3 months. And I'm really, really stoked because it's just like I got myself a Halloween box. Just saying, it's for my birthday present for myself. And Krista says Unspoiled works if you get both on the non-October box anyway. Oh, okay. Oh, so if you got both at the same time, because I tried to use it for the Halloween box and it didn't work for me. Just I was just testing it out. But if it worked for you, cool. But yeah, I will share with all of you guys. Maybe I'll do a live thing unboxing for the Halloween box. One of the things in there I already know about, which is a stemless wine glass that has dark mark on it, which is pretty badass. But I don't know about anything of the other stuff. Yeah, I'm sorry. Sean, I was going to try and get her one on the DL, but it was sold out just before I could do it.
Okay.
But the thought was there. Okay. I think that's everything, right?
Yeah.
Right? All right.
We want to thank everybody for hanging out with us tonight.
Oh my God, patient. Guys. Thank you for your patience. I love you all so much. Can't tell you enough. And you guys know where to find us. Facebook.com/UnspoiledPod, Twitter at Unspoiled Show, Instagram at Unspoiled Podcast. I'm on Instagram at The Glamour Junkie. I'm on Twitter at Natasha Writing. I feel like there's something I'm forgetting. Patreon.com/Unspoiled. If you want to pledge, leave reviews. I should read reviews next week because I haven't done that in a little bit. I need to start a new reward thing. Maybe I'll do a reward for once we're done with our trip. We can do a new one to motivate everybody to get to a certain number of reviews. And Gabrielle says hi. Thank you. Had so much fun. Yay. I'm glad that you guys had fun,
Thanks,
even
Gabrielle.
though it did not go according to plan. So yeah, thank you, Gabrielle, Krista, and Ashley, all for being here this evening. Love you guys. You're amazing. And thank you for your generosity in being a high roller patron in order to be here in the first place. We got 2 hours extra of y'all for free. Yeah, 2 hours extra of me cursing alone in a room. I'm sure that was really riveting.
As she said, adventures are fun.
Ashley's got the kind of attitude we wish we all could have.
Right.
Adventures. That is the kindest way you could have put that. All right, everybody. Well, thank you again so much for listening. We love you all. And we will see you next week, maybe the following week. I'll keep you posted. Keep an eye on Facebook and Twitter with the first 2 chapters of Prisoner of Azkaban. Toodaloo, motherfuckers.
Bye, guys.
That was an Unspoiled Network podcast.